Now we are going to talk about cross-site scripting. XSS vulnerabilities are amongst the most widespread web application vulnerabilities on the internet. Let's talk about the background concept about cross-site scripting. It refers to client-side code injection attack, where an attacker can execute malicious script into a legitimate website or a web application. By leveraging cross-site scripting, an attacker does not target a victim directly. Instead, an attacker would exploit a vulnerability within a website or a web application that the victim would visit, essentially using the vulnerable website as a vehicle to deliver a malicious script to the victim browser. Basically, we will use a website to deliver our payloads to the victim. A victim will visit into that, then our payload will get executed and the payload will do our job. Payload can be malicious, payload can be simple, whatever. Let's talk about the impact of cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting can be used as a part of phishing attack, the URL redirections, as well as key logging, as well as cookie theft. So, in order to run a malicious JavaScript code in a victim browser, an attacker must first find a way to inject a payload into a web page that the victim visits. For exploitation, attacker can use social engineering way like email or the clickjacking to manipulate users for execution of our payload. Let's talk about the types of cross-site scripting. Mainly, cross-site scripting are three types. One is stored, reflected, and DOM based. Let's talk about reflected based first. It's the most common types of cross-site scripting. Attacker payload script has to be part of the request which is sent to the web server and reflect back in such a way that the HTTP response includes that payload. So basically, reflected cross-site scripting requires client-side interaction. If user will visit that vulnerable web page and if the server will deliver our payload to the user's browser, then there is a stored based. But if server won't deliver any payload, we will deliver our payload to the client browser, and if client visiting that, then there is a client-side attack. Now, let's talk about DOM-based cross-site scripting. Is an advanced type of cross-site scripting attack which is made possibly when the web application client-side scripts writes user-provided data into the document object model. The most dangerous part of this attack is often a client-side attack, and the attacker's payload is never sent to the server. This makes it even more difficult to detect a web application firewall, and security engineers analyzer like SOC monitors. So basically, let's take examples of reflected, stored, and DOM through practically. This is a website. If I'm giving hello here, hello is reflecting, but it's not a storing. So there may be reflected based cross-site scripting. Okay, now let's click on the sign up, log in this application. If I will give anything here, let's say Batman, it's storing our input. See this? Then there may be stored based cross-site scripting now, and they are storing on the server side, so that's why it's a stored based. Now see, if I'll give anything and if it won't deliver to the server, they just reflect back to me, then there may be what? You can try with, okay, not hello, something else, something. So if I will give any parameter, if any parameter having hello, and if it's just executing in the user context, not the server side, not sending to the server application, then there may be DOM based cross-site scripting. Example this. This is not sending to the server, they are just executing in our context, and if I'll give any payload there, and if it will execute, then it's called DOM based cross-site scripting. See this? So it's just only executing on the users space, not the server side, not through the server side, not through the client side. Now let's talk about how to hunt for cross-site scripting. You have to find an input parameter, then give input there. If your input reflect or store anywhere, there may be cross-site scripting. Second, try to execute any JavaScript code there. If you succeed to execute any JavaScript there, then there is a cross-site scripting. And third part will be exploitation of cross-site scripting, that we will see later. See, if I am giving a hello here, my input is reflecting. Now I will inject the payload, and if I will succeed to execute, then there may be cross-site. There is a cross-site scripting. So any input parameter, if they are not sanitizing our input, there may carry cross-site scripting. I hope it's clear to you the background concept about cross-site scripting. If not, we will have a discussion session.